So hello and welcome. My name's Stephen Nabel, and today I'm speaking with Marina J on falling in love with your dark side. So Marina is a shadow alchemist, coaching in shadow work for 17 years, helping to transform painful dynamics in people's lives so they become powerful and outrageous light leaders they were born to be. And she offers her best-selling book and podcast, both called Turn Yourself On. Her website is marinaj.net. And hi, Marina.
Hi, Steve. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. I just noticed you from your website. We were talking earlier, this kind of sunflower and this beautiful image you have, which will be presented on this podcast. So I couldn't miss you with that image. So let me ask you about your healing journey, because I had a look at your website and I didn't realize that you had this real journey of physical healing.
Yes, I did. So growing up, probably like a lot of starseeds and light workers listening right now, I was feeling everything all the time, everybody's feelings all the time, as if they were my own. So instead of being able to really support myself, I ended up supporting everybody else around me. And in doing so, it kind of worked for a while, right? People loved me, they liked me, I was very helpful. My mom would say, you know, you're like sunshine, you walk into the room, and she called me sunshine. And then I got to about 12, 13, and instead of my spine continuing to grow straight, it started to bend. And so we would term that as scoliosis. And I ended up having to wear a back brace, which was like a very tight plastic corset that they crudely drilled holes into, and I would actually bleed every day from it. It was not nice at all. And the idea behind it was that it would basically stop my spine from getting worse. When I got to 16, I remember telling the doctors, there was about 30 in a room, they'd come in to sort of see me. They used to call me the Spitfire, and I was standing there and they were talking to me, and I said, I'm done, I'm not having this anymore. And they were telling me, I mean, very lovely doctors and all of that side of things, but the whole part of it was that they were telling me that I had to keep going with it, and I just knew intuitively, I'm done. The reason that I was done, looking back on it now, was because at 16, I actually began to, for the first time, be able to actually support myself. And I knew my spine would not get any worse. And they said to me, you know, I had to sign away my legal rights. If it got worse, I couldn't take them to court. It was a big deal. My parents were lovely. They just fully supported me. But our bodies are always following us. You know, we think sometimes we've just got an ailment. Oh, my hip hurts. Okay, but your hip doesn't just suddenly start hurting as if it's not a part of you. It's a part of you. So for me, my body was just following me. And so since then, I trained as a yoga instructor at 24 years of age. And I started to straighten it through physical alchemy, through spiritual alchemy. And then I found emotional alchemy, which is shadow work. And I started to really heal the big feelings, like, why did I feel the need to help everybody else but myself? Why could I not hear what I needed, but I could hear what you needed? Why was that happening? And so through shadow work, my spine has become straighter and straighter and straighter and straighter and straighter. So now it's healed. So it's not fully straight, but the energy of it is straight, and the muscle mass is still not where it needs to be. But I am in the process now of really enjoying who I am, because I can actually support myself.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, that falls neatly into the whole subject of this chat. Falling in love with your dark side is an intriguing title, because most people don't really want to fall in love with their dark side. No. I imagine that a lot of people, speaking from personal experience, also want to avoid it, want to suppress it, want to look into the light, bright and beautiful. Is that your experience?
Yes. I mean, who wants to feel that yucky, icky stuff? Who wants to come home from, you know, a date or a night out and really sit with how you actually feel? Wouldn't you rather just go and like pile into a tub of ice cream? Yes, of course. Oh my God, yes. But the part of the issue with that is that when we are constantly chasing the light, we're running away from the hard feelings, we never get to know them. And if we never get to know them, hey, they're going to have power over you, right? When you least expect them, when you least expect it, when you're in a shop, when you are talking to somebody, it will just come up. So yeah, falling in love with your dark side, it is actually, I am living proof it is actually possible.
Yes. How would you define the dark side? Because, you know, we're not talking about, well, I suppose some people might even consider their dark to be evil, like anger is evil, or for whatever reason, I'm going to get as far away from it as possible. But how would you define the dark side?
Your dark side is your protector. Your dark side is your masculine to your feminine emotions. So your dark side is your protector of your feminine feelings, your feminine light side. So it's like masculine, feminine, right? Your dark is protecting the light. So for example, anger is a classic one, right? When we were growing up, so many girls in particular, you know, you can't be angry because you have to be a nice girl. Remember that, right? If you knew any girls around. Boys are different. For boys, the only emotion available to them growing up, and I'm talking past tense now, is anger. You're allowed to be angry, but that's pretty much it, right? God forbid you cry. But for girls, we're taught to be nice, to be good, which means you say, you know what? If I feel angry, but you're not accepting it, you're not liking my angry side, I'm just going to hide it from you because I still want to be loved. I still want to be accepted. And then when I move away from the family home, I can't find that angry side when I need to find her, right? So if my boyfriend or my girlfriend are overstepping their boundaries with me, they're being horrible to me, whatever, and I can't have my angry side come up and protect me and say no and give me boundaries, I'm just going to be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Right. So the dark side is, it is so, so needed, especially now when the dark, it's not that there's more dark on our planet, it's that it's just revealing itself. And as it reveals itself, what happens for us as starseeds, light workers, any human being, is it starts to reveal maybe our own dark side that we have also been running from. So if you never classified yourself as an anxious person, maybe the last year you're actually feeling more of that. You're feeling more of that anxious self.
Yeah. There is that saying in magical circles that the world is a mirror reflecting back, and angry people tend to see anger in the world. Jealous people tend to see jealousy. Do you agree with that? That we tend to see what we're kind of either not dealing with? Or...
Yeah, because I feel like if you think about all of us, none of us were built with like a rear view mirror in front of our forehead where we can actually see our totality. So if I can't see my anger because I got taught as a child to hide it away, I'm going to project it onto you. And I'm going to go, oh my God, you know, I'm going to see all this crazy stuff on the road and I'm going to be saying, it's you, it's not me. No, it's not me. And then I have clients and they'll say to me, particularly my clients who begin depressed, they come to me because they're depressed, they're on antidepressants. They'll often say to me, oh no, I'm not an angry person, because they've been taught that anger is dangerous. And if you think about it, when you see anger, it's not pretty. It can be scary to witness. It doesn't model itself as, hey, do you want to come and hang out with me? It doesn't, right? It usually is a repellent. So anger is, it's so important for us to, I mean, I always say to clients, if you haven't let your anger out really in the last day or the last week, you're angry. Let it out, because it may not be something in your own life, but it may be you're feeling angry for other people in the outside world. And as soon as we let our anger out, our power comes rushing back in, like real power.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, all you are is a walking reaction to the outside world. And that's not a powerful place to be. All that does is tell you, hey, I need to go and fall in love with my anger. Okay, got it. Cheers.
Yeah. I think with depression, what I found is that it tends to be, as you say, anger, suppressed or unexpressed anger, but also sadness can be there, that people sometimes can feel, I can't feel sad, or I don't like this feeling of sadness. I just got to push it away. I mean, I don't know if have you found that sadness also can have this aspect as well?
It's like sometimes, you know, whether you've been feeling depressed or you are depressed or you're just having feelings, sometimes we don't really want to actually feel the feelings because then it might make it real. And we worry that maybe we won't come back from it. It's almost like it might bring me down to my knees, and I don't want that. Or the thought of actually getting your anger out in a really healthy way scares people too, because they don't even want to hear the sounds coming out of their mouths. And all of this for me comes back to, if you wanted to control a society and you wanted to remain in control, what would you do? You would tell them to use their words. You would tell them to stop crying. You would tell them that stop being so emotional, calm down. You would basically tell them to cut that feminine energy of your emotions out. And so then you'll go, I can only be the light side of myself. But then if you're only the light side of yourself, there's only half of you walking around.
Yeah.
Right? And then how do you deal with somebody out in the world? How do you deal with a global narcissist? How do you deal with your husband, your wife, your moody teenager? How do you deal with that? Do you just suppress it? Do you just deny it? And you know what? Yeah, good luck with that. You just get tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter inside until suddenly someone cuts you off in traffic. And then there's road rage. And we all know road rage is not road rage, right? We all know it's pent up, but that's how it happens because you haven't felt safe enough or right enough to actually just let your feelings out and do the work it takes to actually alchemize them back into the light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find, well, I find, I'm interested to see what you find around this, that there are cultural rules around what is okay and what's not okay. I think you've lived in Australia for a long time. I've lived in England for a long time. I've been to America. I've got a lot of American clients. I notice cultural rules around what is okay and what's not okay. And I saw one of these, not that I ever watch it very much, America's Got Talent, I think it was. And there was a guy who came on there dressed as a clown called Puddle's Pity Party. I don't know if you've seen this one.
No.
And he was a sad clown. And the judges were like, just couldn't bear the fact that he was sad. And he kept winning. And they go, oh, like you again. Oh, are you still sad? And they really struggled. What's his name? Simon Cowell was really like, oh, God, okay, get on with it then. And they really had, because in America, it's got to be light, bright, beautiful. Everyone's got to be singing and dancing. Hi, have a nice day. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but there is that energy there. And, you know, light, bright. I think in Australia, probably there's a bit more grittiness, I imagine. I think you can have a bit more grittiness.
Yeah.
How do you find these cultural rules around what's okay to express and what's not okay?
It's really interesting because I've got clients all around the world, and so every client will have their own personal stuff and then the socialization of where they actually are. The Americans are interesting. So I actually trained to be a shadow life coach in America, in California, and it was really interesting, right? So we're in the room and we're talking about shadows, right? But you have your dark shadows that you can't own, like maybe anger, but you also have your light shadows, right? Yeah. That you are clever, talented, beautiful, desirable, whatever. And what was really interesting was within that room, there were Americans and there were British people, and then there was people from Europe. And we started off owning our dark side. And we had to sit there and say to a panel of people, your worst fear about yourself, right? I can't remember what mine was, right? But let's just say, I'm an idiot. And I was like, I'm an idiot. And they're like, yeah, you're an idiot. And I'm like, yeah, I'm an idiot. Because when you own it, it can't own you anymore. I was good. These Americans were like running out of the room crying because they couldn't handle their dark side. But all the British, fine. All the Europeans, fine. There weren't any Australians there. Australia kind of sits between the UK and America. They're sort of slightly in the middle somehow. But then when it came to owning the light shadow, I ended up having to have twice the amount of people in front of me because I was just going through my first divorce. I'd already separated. And I couldn't even say I am desirable. Like I couldn't even say, I was bawling. I ran out into the car park, very dramatic. Somebody else ran after me. I'm like, oh my God, all the Americans, yeah, I'm great. I'm fabulous. And I was like, oh my God. So yes, we do definitely, because we're a product. Everything's energy, right? So we're a product of wherever we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
That's interesting, isn't it? That the Americans can own the light much more. I guess that makes complete sense actually for what you know, from the, totally cultural. I'm used to Britain where we're used to kind of dumbing down a little bit, you know, yeah, it's all right. You know, I'm okay. Sorry to bother you too much. and
Yeah.
all of that, you know.
You say, hi there, are you okay? And the English person will say, I'm fine, thank you. It's just nice. It's not,
Yeah.
whereas Americans might go, I'm great, or sure, but it's that really, so we can learn a lot from each other. Neither one is right or wrong, but absolutely in the UK, it's for us to really own our light. And in Australia, I found in Australia, there's more of a masculine quality in Australia where it's much cooler. Part of being that laid back culture is that you've suppressed how you feel. So you appear laid back. That's part of it. So part of that is actually bringing both the dark and the light up so that you're balanced.
Interesting. Let's talk about the spiritual zone, because here we have all the light workers chasing the light. And, you know, got to be more light, more beautiful, more affirmations,
Yeah.
more angels. I mean, I'm in the zone as well of embracing angels, but I think there's a grittiness for me. It's not just, it's really around also helping to clear and transform those difficult patterns rather than just let's be more light and more beautiful. Can we ascend by just being all love and light?
No.
No. Okay. That's the bad news for some people.
Because when we ascend, we have to take all of us with us. So we have to have our light side and our dark side integrated in order to ascend. That's like saying both polarities. Otherwise, what are you going to ascend with? Well, you're going to ascend with your spirituality, your spiritual concepts. That's great. Your mental body, your physical body, but your emotional body that's still kind of a walking reaction to your family, to your children, to your spouse, to the outside world. Hey, that's going to be where you left it, right? In Manchester, in New York, in Sydney, in Hong Kong. It's going to be there. You cannot ascend. You cannot ascend by just being love and light, really. You have to have that dark side too. Yeah, really important.
So it's about, I think, being real and authentic, which maybe you hear those kind of terms in more personal development seminars, but I think it is really the whole journey is about becoming more real, more yourself, what's true to you, shedding what's not, but embracing all of it. And we are these feelings, we have this experience. And of course, by owning it, as you say, it has less power over us, doesn't it?
Yes, so it's exactly that. So people look at me and they're like, oh, she's just happy, but she's probably had an easy life, right? They don't have many people they look at, and they look at somebody and they go, you're light because you've done the work. So
Yeah.
I clear and heal myself. I'm doing stuff pretty much every day, right? And that's, if you know how to alchemize your dark into the light, you will literally retain your light. If you are just the light, you end up like the dark will keep coming at you, and you're only going to be able to remain light and love for as long as you remember it, or you know, just an hour after you've meditated. But if you wait, you know, by the end of the day, where are you then? But if you've alchemized your dark, if you've fallen in love with it, and the way that I work with clients is essentially, people say things like, I'll give you an example. They say things like, you know, I have to fight my ego, right? Or I have to, it's like, I'm not going to be angry, you know, just let it go. My least favorite saying is just let it go. I don't fight my ego. I've actually made friends with her.
Yeah.
Why would I fight a part of me? Isn't that what's happening in the outside world?
Yeah.
Right? We don't fight the dark. I know we've been talking a lot about this, a dark light war. We don't fight the dark. We alchemize it. You and me, and all of you listening to this right now, you're a born alchemizer. You're a born alchemizer. This is actually partly why you're here, is you have this ability in you to take whatever is happening that's giving you pain, that's hurting you internally or in the outside world, and actually alchemize it back into the light. So I don't fight my ego, because actually my ego has a huge gift. Why would I fight apart? I haven't been made wrong. Like, have you been made wrong? No. Right? Children know this. You look at little toddlers, they know this. They'll have a massive like spack attack, won't they? And they'll be like, rah, and they're like crying and screaming and they're on the floor. And then if the parent has owned their own shadow, so they're not triggered by it, they'll let the child do what the child does. The child gets up, hangs out, is in the best mood, goes and plays. Children are the light. They are the light because they allow themselves to feel their dark. They haven't been taught to be scared of it yet. They're actually friends with it. They understand that it has a gift.
Yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
really, yeah. So it's like making friends. If you make friends with every single part of you, if you can fall in love with every single part of you, the part that you like, but the part that you don't like, the part that you're scared of, the part that if I met you, you would be ashamed of and you would hide from me. You would be like, yeah, I can't be that. I literally can't be that. If you can fall in love with that part, you are free. And when you're free, the outside world will stop showing it to you because you've already healed. And that, I feel, is how you win the war, right? There is a light dark war out there, or you call it a, I don't know, a chess play or whatever you want to call it. That's how we win, by literally integrating the polarities within, so there's no more polarity out, because polarity is 3D. And what we're really saying is, can you integrate these emotions? Because the truth of it all is, we're everything. We're all of these feelings, right? We are the anger, we are the beauty, we are the hate, we are the fear, we're all of those things. But at the same time, we're none of it. The reason we make friends with it is to completely let go of it. And that's how you let go of things, not by just saying it. It's by actually genuinely facing your deepest fears about yourself. And hey, some of those deepest fears are going to be the light, right?
Yeah.
That you are brilliant, that you are successful, that you are all of these things.
Yeah, brilliant. So my final question around this is, our shadow is often revealed in relationships, of course, where people come and press our buttons. And I had a really big example years ago where I was a director of this spiritual organization, and there was a young woman there who looked light, bright, and beautiful, and was kind of doing mantras and everything. But we had a clash. We struggled a bit. There was some difficulty between us. And one day I went into meditation and I had this vision. I was sitting on one side of a valley. I was in a small dot of dark surrounded by light, and she was sitting on the other side, sitting in a small dot of light surrounded by darkness, like the yin yang thing. And
Yeah.
one day she was saying something, giving me some difficulty, and I just said to her this vision I had. She burst into tears and started revealing a lot about her life, which made the whole thing made total sense. She appeared light, bright, beautiful, but she'd had a very, very difficult past in the recent, like, 5 to 10 years, and so it helped shift everything, actually. But don't you find when people come and press our buttons? I was really pressed by her in many. I can't remember how now, but she really did. When people press our buttons, we usually kind of move away from going, oh, yeek, don't, I don't want to. But shouldn't we face them and use it as shadow work?
Yeah. Because if you say you didn't face it, then you would leave the organization and you would go somewhere else and it would just follow you, because your higher self loves you too much to let you off the hook. Your higher self knows that you're meant to ascend this lifetime, right? So your higher self is like, okay, well, let's bring somebody else then. And so often, I will have, for example, a situation and somebody, say, has upset me, and the first question I ask myself is, who do they become? They become my mom, or they become my dad, or they become my sibling, or they become my best friend at school, or they become like whoever. And it's often from that first sort of 0 to 8 years, right? You go, oh, okay, I get it. Because that's who you're really dealing with, right? You're not really dealing with the person at work. You're dealing with your caregiver. You're dealing with your teacher at school. So it's so important for us to, and I think a lot of light workers do this anyway, but to really know that whatever you've got going on right now, even if it feels really big and maybe you're in crisis, or maybe you're doing quite well, but you're not quite where you want to be, you've actually been built to do this. You've been built to heal. All it is as you reclaim these parts of yourself, they're going to help you, right? If you can reclaim the part of you that is your self-saboteur, she or he is actually going to help you, right? So running, hey, they're just going to catch up with you, because that's how much your higher self adores you, absolutely adores you. So, and the other part of it is, what I like to do is, often people say, the world isn't just a mirror. And I feel like actually it is. And I feel like it's been misinterpreted a little bit. So let's say that you've got somebody at work and they are being really rude to you. And you're like, well, that must mean I'm rude, right? No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean you're rude, but where are you being rude to yourself? Or if that person's attacking you, where are you already attacking yourself? Because they couldn't do it to you if you weren't already doing it to yourself, because there's no resonance. There's no vibration. So you find that part of yourself and you might not like them, but you understand that they also hold a gift and they hold a lot of wisdom for you. When you meet them and you hear them and you fall in love with them, something really magical happens. They start to help you instead of hurt you. They start to become a part of you that actually helps you instead of hurts you. And instead of being inverted inwards, right? So they're actually attacking you, they can go outwards and maybe attack a meal, or maybe not attack somebody else, because within a conscious being, it's very okay. But if you get attacked, you will be able to stand up for yourself. You will be able to hold your center, right? If you're being projected upon, misunderstood, because there's a lot of that going on right now within families and what have you. Yeah, so that's a really important part.
Brilliant. So Marina, you've got this Shadow Intensive course coming up. Can you just say something about that?
Yes, I'm running a 6 weeks, 6-week Shadow Alchemy Intensive, and it is for anybody who wants to use shadow work to heal their childhood trauma, their wounds, their triggers, any situation that they're in, past or present, that they are they're becoming contracted into. And so I'm running that March the 11th. It's going to be via Zoom. And for the first 5 people that book in, they'll actually get a free 1-hour session with me. I just thought I really want to help people. So yeah, so that starts.
That sounds amazing, gift.
Yeah, I love it. And this is the thing with shadow work, it's a lot of fun. We actually laugh a lot because some of it's hilarious, right? But it's a lot of fun, and you end up with situations that maybe you've lived with for so long, you realize that you can unhook them quickly. And it's not that shadow work is amazing and incredible, don't get me wrong, but it's that you've got this power, and it's literally tapping into this power that you've always had, because you are more powerful than anything in the outside world, than anything that's going on in your family right now. Always, 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 always. And if you don't think you are, you've just forgotten this power that you are. So yeah, I really love doing it with people.
Yeah, well, you're clearly very passionate in this area. And Marina, it's brilliant talking with you. Thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Thank you. And I just want to say, I love your meditations. They're absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for all the work that you do as well, because you are just brilliant.
Oh, thank you, Marina. Yeah. Thank you so much. Well, we're going to do tea. I know we're going to do tea together.
We are.
Okay.